is 5:30, Tuesday, January 20th, stream number 2 of 3 on the day. We began with the Vault, as always, in the noon hour. About to go for the next 60 right here inside this channel. And then Jeff Zaribek, Cole Jackson, and myself will bring you the latest on the collective tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. Thanks to FanDuel for the continued support of this program. Same thing with Preston Automotive Group, my longest standing sponsor. I appreciate you guys for being with me. I'm Bobby Trosset. If you could on the way in, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership this offseason. I'll get to as many super chats, and I will open up the guest line access as well. John Harbaugh broke his silence for the first time in terms of spoken form at today's introductory press conference for the New York Giants. He's the next head coach, of course, of the New York Football Giants. He also joined WFAN, Tiki Barber, and a couple hosts for a post-interview after that traditional, more formal press conference. He talked about Steve Bisciotti, talked about his relationship with Lamar Jackson, a number of other things, including potential staff overhauls, changes, developments within that realm. Adam Schefter had interesting thoughts and commentary on how the Ravens so far 2 weeks in to post John Harbaugh and trying to find a successor. Some interesting perspective there that we'll get to. News on Mike McDaniel, the former Dolphins head coach, and just an updated, really overall catch-up, I'd say, to catch you up to speed on where the Ravens stand in this ongoing process to just somehow, some way, after what may end up being 3 weeks, maybe more than 3 weeks at the rate that they're going, an opportunity to find their next head coach. So appreciate you guys for being with me as always. Let's dive right into the content and begin with John Harbaugh's thoughts on Steve Bisciotti. And remember, I have the transcript from a week ago today when Bisciotti and DaCosta spoke with reporters in that State of the Ravens format, if you will. Steve's first sit down in that setting in 7 or 8 years. And one of the things that he said, among many, was that he told John 48 hours after he fired him on the phone in a follow-up call, he told him a number of things. But he told him, hey, take a year off, right? Take a year off, paid vacation on me, go do it. And he also told him that he felt like of the vacancies that were out there for the taking at the time, that, quote, I only thought there were a couple jobs out there. I told him the one that I thought he should take. We'll see if I manifest correctly. That is a direct quote. Harbaugh was asked about that by WFAN earlier this afternoon. He had a different account.
He said something fascinating. He said, I told Coach Harbaugh where I recommend he should go, but I won't reveal that until Coach does. So we were playing the game on the air because we played the audio, and I said, Bisciotti told him to go to the Giants. Can you reveal what he told you, his advice on where you should go?
No, he didn't tell me anything. So I don't know what he said.
He didn't? He made it up?
He told me to take a year off. He told me to
really?
take a year away.
That's because he didn't want you coaching against
He told
him.
me he was going to pay for a year's vacation. I didn't. And I'm sure he's going to hear this quote because it's going to be out there. I want to message me. It is in the contract. So that is true, what you're saying. But I wasn't going to do that, and he knew that, too, because he knows me. I mean, we love each other. We always will. And
by the way, he seems awesome.
He's a great guy,
and he doesn't talk enough because a lot of owners should follow his mentality towards addressing media.
Yeah,
just be real.
Just be real. He's real. He's always real. That's who he is. But you saw, that's who he is every day. You know, he's great.
A little he said, she said, if you will. Not sure it's the biggest deal in the world ever. There's been worse said, certainly, about the end and the firing, right? This was a firing. This was not a mutual parting of ways. If you need to remind yourself, just go and reread the statements that were released. One by Bisciotti, one by Harbaugh. Steve says in this case that he told John 48 hours after on Thursday, 2 weeks ago, he felt like there was a team specifically that he should go take that job. John says, no, he never said that. Leave it to WFAN to get right to it. Good luck, John. I'm not sure it's going to be the best combination. John Harbaugh and New York media, the first of many interactions. Quote, no, he didn't tell me any team. He told me to take a year off. He told me he was going to pay for a year's vacation, but I wasn't going to do that. And he knew that too, because he knows me. We love each other. We always will. He's a great guy. By the way, welcome to our Giants fans. Giants, maybe perhaps new Giants subscribers. I see some of you in the live chat. Glad you're here. It's good to have you guys inside the channel. Maybe you'll stay and wait around and hang around as this. Because I think, look, of course, you're going to see some in the live chat feeling a certain type of way about covering something that is old news, even though this is fresh news. And John Harbaugh's first on the record spoken comments about several things, including Lamar Jackson, which I'm getting to in just a second. But this is how it goes. This is how it goes. It's the first time. We won't be following it on the nitty gritty. But this is obviously, after 18 years, this is what you do. Wasn't the only thing that he spoke about. He also talked a little bit about whether or not he had regrets about the way that he managed, or perhaps, depending on where you stand, mismanaged that final drive in Pittsburgh and what became his final moments as the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens.
On that final drive with... I'm not trying to make you laugh. I'm curious. Any regrets on that final drive, taking the knee before the loop field goal attempt?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like every single time you do something, if it doesn't work, I wish I'd have done the other thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been that way. So, yeah, hand it off and see if Derrick Henry can go score, But, in the moment, you think of the downside, too. You put some things at risk, and, what if the worst thing happens that way, too? So I think you can always look back and have regrets. So I wouldn't really say regrets. I mean, you put everything you have into it. You shouldn't really have regrets. Disappointment? Absolutely.
Said a couple different things there, really, right? Right out of the gate, he first was like, oh, yeah, every single time you do something, if it doesn't work, I wish I would have done the other thing. But then goes on to kind of course correct himself throughout that answer and is like, no, you shouldn't have regrets in life, right? You put everything you have into it. I'm disappointed, yes, no regrets. So whatever. Look, the bottom line is, I said it then. I'll say it now. Hindsight's always 20/20. You get that. Tyler had been good this season within 40 to 49 yards. Matter of fact, I don't believe he had missed going into week 18. Where he struggled was from 50 and above, where he finished the year 1 for 4. And we know that the biggest issue for Tyler this year was the landing zone, the dynamic kickoff, accuracy there, and inconsistencies related to that part of his game. But between 40 and 49, he was pretty good. Now, to me, that becomes irrelevant in that moment, knowing the magnitude of the moment, knowing that he was a rookie at the time, knowing that truly to that degree in game-winning fashion at the NFL level hadn't yet been tested. And I kind of was of the belief that you had the time. Why not continue to chip away and put Tyler in the best position for success? I'm not asking for a chip shot, but 44 yards. He just saw Boswell miss a PAT, a lot on the line, prime time, first time playing in a hostile environment. It's cold. There's a lot of factors. I'm glad John Harbaugh was asked about it, even if it is just a couple weeks after, and there's more pressing things that are on your minds out there. I understand that. It goes without saying, by the way, if you're in the live chat bitching about the content, I don't know, go turn on YouTube TV. James Mothers is bitching about it right now in the live chat. James, go find your ass YouTube TV. There's a lot to pick from over there. All right, James, I can even hold your hand on your way. I'll find the dial for you. Here's John Harbaugh talking specifically about Lamar.
Relationship with Lamar Jackson. It's been categorized in the media the last couple of weeks. For you, good relationship with Lamar at the end?
Yeah, phenomenal relationship with Lamar. I mean, everything has been absolutely positive. Ask him; he'll tell you. I mean, right. we love each other. We tell each other we love each other. I mean, he's one of my favorite human beings. We revolutionized offensive football with Lamar Jackson. I don't know why that doesn't get written about more.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Well,
that's twice, two different times.
You know why, John?
All right. So, look, I think it's pretty clear based on DaCosta's comments, based on over the years of evidence. decent level of concrete evidence that I'd have to think ownership, front office, they want a little bit more communication from Lamar, if you will, particularly in the offseason. I'm not even dating back to the contract saga in 2022. Just talking about maybe like his engagement level in the offseason, how often or not he's in the building. I'm sure that was wanted more. Any coach would want their star franchise quarterback in the building more. But I also think it's safe to say that a lot of this tends to be overblown. And I think it really stems back to, the fact that, and I'm not criticizing him for this, but reasons for the Mike Florios of the world, which we spent some time on this afternoon on the Vault, why those stories about traded to Vegas, other things, his future with the Ravens, does he want to be there, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that starts to get traction, I think, because of really not having anyone in the traditional sense from a representation standpoint to back him. I think you've seen Lamar Jackson Entertainment, his Twitter account, kind of taking on that role this offseason. And when you don't have that person who traditionally will serve as your mouthpiece, will serve as someone who protects you in any and all fashion, I think a lot of this tends to get perpetuated and it ends up being a lot more than what it is. Is there a chance that Lamar Jackson is traded to the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason? I guess. Do I think it's likely? No, particularly given how Steve Bisciotti spoke of him last week. There's also a no-trade clause, so if Lamar doesn't want to leave, you better believe that he has power to do exactly that, control his own destiny. And not to mention, it might be the greatest failure in terms of Ravens organizational history, allowing a Luka Doncic type, if you will, to walk out in the middle of his prime. I know he's not getting any younger, and I know at this point, 8 years in, he's got a lot of wear on that tear, if you will, but I think we all know that if Lamar Jackson, or when Lamar Jackson returns in 2026 healthy, there's only a debate for a handful of other quarterbacks that you would want more so than him. And maybe for those of you out there, you don't think there is another quarterback that you'd want aside from Lamar Jackson suiting up for your team. So bottom line is a lot of that smoke, a lot of that is due to Lamar not having that. And I'm not saying it's right, by the way, that these stories, these rumors, these theories get legs. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just trying to give you an idea for why I think they take on a life of its own at times. So anyway, that's that. Quieted the Lamar talk. Talked a little bit about the Steve Bisciotti and had a different account in terms of that conversation. He also talked about, and I don't know how much this relates to the day-to-day that the Ravens stand in right now, because I think it's pretty clear they're not bringing Todd Monken back. That's been pretty obvious. But John did speak about his staff, and that's where it gets, I think, relevant to the day-to-day operations for the Ravens right now, because Anthony Weaver is one of their candidates, one of the 17 that they've spoken to, and as of this week was brought in for an in-person interview, a second in-person interview with the organization, having served under Mike McDaniel as the defensive coordinator in Miami the last couple of days. Here is John talking about his potential staff starting to form.
Definitely be people I'm familiar with. But I'm familiar with a lot of people, so, and really, I say that because I don't know for sure yet. You talk about different guys. I'm sure you guys are talking about Todd Monken.
Yeah, of course.
I think has done a phenomenal job. I just look at the numbers, and he's a lot of fun to work with. I think the guys are going to really love him if we get him here or whatever. But he's interviewing today in Cleveland for the head coaching job. So you just never know where these things are going to go. But I will say this, Tiki, there's a lot of coaches that want to come coach here.
Of course.
There's
really talent on this team.
There is. There's talent in this team, and people love this fan base. I think there's a lot of coaches that want to be here.
A lot of those those phrases probably giving you guys either PTSD or good reminiscing memories. There's a lot of coaches that want to be here. I feel like I've heard that a time or two in Baltimore. And hey, I don't doubt it. Are you kidding me? They're skill position players on offense. They'll draft high this year. They got an ownership group that's willing to spend. They went out and found their guy. I happen to think very highly of Jackson Dart. The guy's a winner. Didn't win a lot in his rookie season, but I mean, when you lose your number one wide receiver in Malik Neighbors and then just a freight train psycho beast running back and Cam Scatterbo goes down, then you're kind of on an island. And so assuming that those two players, those skill position players return, it's going to be an offense that you would think coordinated by Todd Monken's going to be humming. So I'll be interested to see. But anyway, the reason why I bring it up is not because of the Todd Monken discussion. It's because of this staff and some of the rumblings that are out there. And could there be a Ravens Northeast, if you will, come free agency in a month or two? Connor Hughes, NFL reporter, he says that the Giants are, quote, confident things will work out with Todd Monken as their OC under Harbaugh. They're still going through the process. Defensively, Anthony Weaver is believed to be the favorite at the moment. Zach Orr is another name. Oh, boy. Zach has at least initially interviewed in Dallas for their vacant defensive coordinator position. But didn't they just fill that? Am I losing my mind, or are they still looking? No, I don't think they have filled it yet. Are they zeroing in on Jonathan Gannon? There's so many different openings, and I'm mostly focused on the Ravens, obviously, from a head coach perspective. There's 6 vacancies out there right now, by the way, across the league at the head coach position. Maybe Dallas hasn't yet hired their replacement. But anyway, point is, Weaver is one of the 17 who the Ravens have spoken to. I guess you can categorize him as a finalist, per se, knowing that he's had an in-person interview and it was a second conversation. So just keep that in mind. As for free agency, remember, you got some expiring contracts. You got guys like Tyler Linderbaum, who had his 5th-year option declined a year ago in Baltimore. He was a former first-round pick. And while the entire offensive line as a whole collectively regressed this year, led by some pretty poor, inconsistent guard play, Linderbaum, come on, man. Anybody would want Tyler Linderbaum at center for them. He's the glue. He is a glue guy, Iowa farmer tough, blue collar. This is somebody you want in your organization. But as Connor Hughes notes, keep an eye on him. From what he's been told, expect the Giants to be aggressive in targeting ex-Ravens in free agency. Harbaugh wants people who know his way to carry out his message in the locker room. So, names like Charlie Kohler, Tyler Linderbaum, those come to mind. There's a whole slew of players that are in Baltimore on expiring contracts. And look, depending on the program and the direction that they go in at the top, who knows? There may not be a ton of players retained. Then again, personnel-wise, the Ravens haven't changed. Eric DeCosta, who's had a hand in a lot of these decisions over the years, certainly hasn't changed. His role hasn't changed at all. He's leading the search, for God's sakes. But as we kind of discussed and speculated a little bit on the vault earlier today, it will be interesting to watch and observe throughout this next year as a new era of Ravens football kind of gets underway, if their behavioral trends when it comes to not only free agency, but drafting, whether it be program-wise, trait-wise, personnel, everything within that department. Are there any new nuance? Are there any new little twists and turns to how they evaluate, who they spend on, how they spend, when they spend? It's going to be a lot of fun. But consider this the first of what I'm sure will be many, many rumblings between now and the start of the new league year. First week of March, it's going to be a busy one for us. It's going to be a busy one for the Ravens. Buckle up. Linderbaum will be a big loss. I know everybody kind of has a sour taste in their mouth after what you watched from the offensive line. Linderbaum will be a big loss. Huge loss, matter of fact. And, of course, I have to throw this in there because I know after you read his statement, John's statement 2 weeks ago when he was fired, you probably weren't thrilled that petty Harbs perhaps popped up indirectly by not singularly focusing and specifically mentioning the fans. The same, He stayed consistent during his press conference.
I'd like to extend a profound thank you to Steve and Ozzie for the opportunity, for the guidance that they provided every single day, to all the players and coaches who have been unrelenting brothers all along the way through the years. We did great things. Thanks, guys. But now as we begin a new chapter in New York, our focus is simple. It starts with building a team that is physical and tough, that's capable of overwhelming their opponent from beginning to end, and especially at the end, that understands how to finish, that is smart and disciplined, that plays the game the way it should be played, and that everybody watching it, including those playing it, will be proud of.
All right. I thought of a good poll while I'm listening to John there. Are you bothered by John Harbaugh leaving out a thank you to fans since his firing? Let's do that, because I'm curious to see. I don't know. Why would you even listen to me on this topic, on this specific topic, in my opinion on it? Because I'm not a fan, and I've never claimed to be a fan. I've never told anyone that I was a fan of the team. Like, this is just, you guys know the drill by now. This is where my career took me, right? So genuinely, I've never been a fan, never will be. Love building this, love the community, appreciate all of your perspectives and your fandoms and the hard under. There's a lot of season ticket holders in here. There's a lot of people that, live and die by the organization, and I love it. None of this works. Sports does not work without fandom, right? So I've never ever spoken as if I'm anything other than that, what I just mentioned. But what I want to know from you guys is what I just threw into the poll. John Harbaugh has had plenty of opportunities, whether it be written or now spoken, to thank Ravens fans for 18 years. Are you bothered by the fact that he's either indirectly or directly, because I can't say one way or the other, directly or indirectly, not done so? Does that bother you? Sean McDermott did. Mike Tomlin certainly did. Now, granted, one of the two of them weren't fired. Mike left on his own accord, so we think. Sean, shown the door. Harbaugh, shown the door. Others, Stefanski, shown the door. Pretty sure the majority of those statements, including McDaniels down in Miami, quickly, doesn't have to be that long. Doesn't have to be a full paragraph. It can be a half a sentence, a full sentence, a couple words. Are you bothered by the idea, by the fact that John Harbaugh has not singularly mentioned his appreciation and a shout out for fans? We'll go ahead and take a look at that. Appreciate you guys. Why does my gut tell me that it was intentional? Right? These aren't statements that you just kind of throw together. These are crafted. This is like agent stuff. This is PR stuff. Why do I think that there was a deliberate decision made on that? And yeah, others, including Femi in the live chat right now, picked up on something else, that Eric DaCosta was not mentioned. Now, the question was that part off the cuff or not? Let me go ahead and throw back to that clip once more, because I'll be able to tell whether or not it was off. I think we can all probably tell by his body language whether or not this was off the cuff. So let's go ahead and throw that back.
I'd like to extend a profound thank you to Steve and Ozzie for the opportunity.
I guess he's looking down. I guess that's part of his crafted speech, right? So not off the cuff. Anyway, again, I can't speak to this. I hope you guys would and will in the live chat. And just because, we have over 1,300 concurrents in here at the moment, you never know. There's new people, new subscribers, maybe even Giants fans right now. I feel like I've spoken on this as if I'm a broken record over the years, but just in case, for those inquiring, I don't have fandom anywhere across the board because when I came out of college, my trajectory and my visions were for traditional media, play-by-play broadcasting, studio broadcasting, sideline reporting. That's where I spent the majority of my 20s doing a number of those things in a number of different markets, including DC and Baltimore. And you are essentially taught to strip all your fandom in some cases. Some don't. I decided to. I was serious enough about where I thought I was heading. And when my career took me in a different direction, when you land in the non-traditional space, it is somewhat uncommon, I think, in today's day to run a channel like this without a level of fandom. And so I just genuinely, even though I've said this time and time again, I don't see that changing. And I'm genuinely in it for the business side. I'm in it for the community, the creation aspect, the creative freedom, and everything that this wonderful platform has given me now 4 years running. And it really is a special community that leads to crash outs during iconic, historic coach searches that are now 2 weeks old. But mostly it leads to a lot of joy, fulfillment, satisfaction, pride, and hopefully continued growth. So hopefully you guys get any of that or one of that or maybe none of that. But anyway, that's my spiel. Thanks to FanDuel for the continued support. This is what I mean. I mean, sponsorships like FanDuel that I just locked in a couple weeks ago that runs through all of 2026 does not happen without the community that you guys have helped me cultivate. So thank you in advance. And I wanted to take a look ahead at the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 60 odds. By the way, getting ready for my third Radio Row experience. Jake Asman and I are going to be out in San Francisco working Radio Row, getting different folks on and off the channel, different perspectives, different voices. Cannot wait to get out there. My first time to San Fran. If any of you are out there, hit me up. You know how to reach me. I'll be on Radio Row broadcasting all week leading up to whoever plays in Super Bowl 60 in the Bay Area. And right now, Seattle plus 145, okay, in the driver's seat to take home the Lombardi for Super Bowl 60. The Rams at plus 210. If that one lives up to what it's supposed to be on paper, guys, I mean, come on. Seahawks, Rams, McVay versus McDonald, those two defenses, and a chance to not only observe and evaluate Clint Kubiak if you're the Ravens, but also Chris Shula on the Rams side along with Nate Scheelhaus. I mean, there's just so much to like, and we haven't even gotten to the Denver Broncos, the story of the weekend, knowing that Jarrett Stidham will be starting just for the fifth time in his NFL career, which dates back to 2019 since they lost Bo Nix. At plus 1,300, yeah, a long shot to say the very least. But do not rule out the possibility that Sean Payton will have that defense ready to roll. And look, I know they gave up some points in the divisional round, but 5 takeaways, that's going to put you in a position for success more often than not in the postseason. New England at plus 240, Mike Vrabel in year one with the Patriots, nothing short of exceptional for them. And the Ravens are going to be trying to do exactly that with whoever they hire. Quick turnaround. It's not a rebuild. It's a reset. Perhaps that's reason for encouragement if you're a Ravens fan. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. If you could on the way in, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or a gift-giving membership. We got over 1,500 concurrents and counting on a packed Tuesday night. 2 hours and 2 minutes from now, we will reopen the collective. Jeff Zrebeck, Cole Jackson, and I will sit down and we'll get Jeff's perspective on where he's at in terms of this ongoing Ravens head coach search in Baltimore. Guest lines are open, and I'm asking you, so let's get an update before we open them up. As we approach 200 votes, are you bothered by John Harbaugh leaving out a thank you to fans since his firing? 66% of you say no, you're not bothered. 34% of you say yes. Interesting. Actually very interested by that, and I'm curious to hear more from our guest lines. That's the question. 90 seconds on the clock in order of how you came into the program. We will go to Columbus first. Trey is standing by. It's good to see you, brother. Welcome back in, my man. Take it from here. We will go to Columbus first. Trey. Okay. Trey. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Consider that strike one. Used to be an umpire, actually. Youth umpire. Strike one. I don't know what Trey's doing over there. That couch might seen a lot over the years. Chef Trez, is your camera on? If it isn't, we're on to the next person. Chef likes to take his time. He's probably cooking right now. Don't know what he's doing. And he says nope. 0 for 2. Great. Great, guys. It's great to have you on tonight. Glad I gave you 90 seconds as my subscriber count, my concurrent count just plummets on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Good stuff. Back to Columbus we go. Let's give Trey another opportunity. Welcome, brother. Were you bothered or not by John Harbaugh? Multiple opportunities to thank Ravens fans now, both in written form and obviously in spoken form. Were you bothered or no?
Not really bothered, mainly because John was going to be John regardless. I feel like he's at that point where he's kind of moving on to the next thing. If I'll be bothered really about John, I'm just kind of just ecstatic that we're on to the next coach more than anything. I was watching it and I was intrigued in watching what John had to say. But him not really reaching out and saying anything about Baltimore didn't really rub me wrong. But I know it did with the rest of the fan base for sure.
Yeah, good stuff, brother. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Thanks for the call, man. Man, he gave 45. He never leaves 45 seconds on the clock. It's all good, Trey. Appreciate the call. Man, I thought I was super, super specific, and I thought communicative a few minutes ago when I addressed the whole fandom thing, but people are still wondering. Should I start speaking Spanish? It's the same stuff with like the whole Flores thing. Like when I go unheard, when you speak so often, when you speak so much for a living and you go unheard by some, it just, after a while, it's just like, oh my God. Seriously, I will speak Spanish, by the way, especially to Manny when he comes on the program. But anyway, just because some people were still wondering, there is no fandom, period. There is no fandom. So yeah, it's all good, Shannon. Maybe you were a little bit behind in terms of the timing of it, but it's all good. I try to go back and forth between the live chat and whatnot. Guest lines are still open. And you know the question that I'm asking you tonight. Were you bothered? Are you bothered by the fact that John Harbaugh has either indirectly or directly, I think it's the latter, not chosen to shout out Ravens fans, whether it be in spoken or written form, since his firing almost 2 weeks ago to the hour? To the guest lines we go. They're back open. And Pete, my nephew, second semester, Salisbury, Eastern Shore. Welcome back to the program, brother. Talk to us.
So why would that man apologize to the fan base when all they did was belittle him and talk shit about him all the time, got personal, whatever? Why would that man's apologize? Like, why would you expect an apology after all that? Like, I get it, but like, why would you expect an apology? Like, even Steve Bisciotti acknowledged that he didn't like the fact that the fans attacked his friend. So like, you can't act like that and get personal and expect an apology.
So I think it was more so a thank you, showing gratitude. I think it was more about. But I see what you're saying in terms of, the hard part is, regardless, right? What he's doing is, without doing so, I'm sure this isn't his intention, but those that still love the guy and appreciate the guy and don't have anything bad to say about him, that is essentially ignoring that portion, which I think it's a classic case of the vocal minority. Now, that's not to say that people weren't ready for change, but I think the vocal minority just thinks he's a piece of trash, right? Whereas the overwhelming majority, whether you're vocal or non-vocal, appreciate John, appreciate the Super Bowl, appreciate the moments and the consistency and the stability. And I think that's
I guess what I mixed up in my head is why would he thank you after all of whatever Finn did? Also, one quick point about Harbaugh. Why can't it be an Eagles and Andy Reid type situation where Andy Reid splits off, he's got all the Super Bowls now, and Eagles got a couple Super Bowls after leaving him. So why can't it be like that with the Giants or whatever? Why do people have to wish so much ill?
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. We'll see. He did mention Andy Reid, by the way, in his press conference today. They've spoken. He's long been on record for saying that Andy's one of his mentors in this business. And I think Andy's done pretty darn well in his second act as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs over the last many, many years. Back to the guest lines we go. 90 seconds on the clock. Glad you guys can be with me tonight. Over 1,600 concurrents and counting. Like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We will transition and shift gears to the latest around the coaching cycle. Got some news on that front, including Brian Flores. Okay, let's see. Chef, are you with me now? EB's device is not connected. I don't know what the hell is going on tonight with connectivity inside this waiting room. But to Mexico City we go. Manny Mania. Just giving away Mexican currency super chats, which I love. Yes, I do. Except he chooses the wrong channel, doesn't he? Welcome back to the program, brother. You, my friend, feel what about John?
I don't give a shit. I mean, it's over. Move on. I want Clint now. Well, we can't have him now because he's playing on. But once he wins the Super Bowl to establish a point, we go and get him. Because, hey, why not? Why not come to the Ravens? You got Lamar, you got Henry, and you just won a Super Bowl with Seattle, and you want to prove, hey, I come from the best tree. That is the Mike McDaniel tree. And I can make my father proud, Gary Kubiak. So why not?
All right, so you're on the Kubiak train, which means for a second follow-up, it ain't till next week. It's after the AFC it's after the championship weekend. Of course, they will host a championship game in Seattle.
Yep.
And most importantly, just like last week, a primetime look, a way of observing his candidacy in real time. Should be fun.
Yeah, and I got a question, Bobby.
Yeah.
When's the wedding with Salah?
Yeah, you guys really enjoyed that today, didn't you? You really did.
I mean, everybody was saying like Bobby Salah.
Yeah, and there's a couple motherfuckers in the waiting room that enjoyed it as well, and I'm sure it's going to be broken up and brought up within their 90-second time frame. I think so. Thanks, brother. Good to see you, man.
All right.
Unbelievable. At least, the way he said it was so gently in the live chat. And this just happens in general when you're trying to forecast the way that writing would be said out loud versus just hearing it out loud. That's what I get with Evan all the time. His writing makes me want to fucking lose my mind. Then he comes on the show and it's the most chill, balanced argument back and forth. But in Discord, I'm ready to fucking lose my mind. And there's other people too. But that's what's so funny about social media, right? Oftentimes critique, and this is why you try to never make any rash decisions. I'm no stranger to that. But you try to take everybody and consider the body language, the tone, the rhetoric, and give it more the benefit of the doubt. Because if Manny said what he said in the Discord, the way that he said it there, I think I would have interpreted it too. Does that make sense? Anyway, guest lines are open. Chef is now showing his face, and we'll see what he has to say. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Femi is joining live from the sauna, weighing in via live chat. That's always a thought-provoking area to be watching. Well, not just watching something, but also brainstorming. Saunas, showers, runs, walks along the water, airplanes, you name it. Chef, welcome in, brother.
I ain't got much to say, Bobby.
All yours. First and foremost, John, your reaction to John, if at all.
I don't care. I'd say, honestly, it fires me much more to where anytime the Ravens face the Giants, I want them to demolish that team because we dealt with the John Harbaugh doghouse, the mismanagement of players, blah, blah, whatever, etc. And then now, not saying he's getting on his high horse about we want to, play a full game of football and finish in the fourth quarter and blah, blah, whatever, when you couldn't do that with a two-time MVP, with a great defense or great defensive players and pieces and stuff. Crazy. But kind of crazy how Robert Saleh goes to the Titans and all of a sudden there's no poll for what who's the next head coach.
We had a poll earlier today, and as I mentioned, The 4 options were based on betting odds and second interviews. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm just saying for your channel, man. It's like there was no poll. There was
The
no
poll's
poll,
about
man.
tonight's
I'm just,
poll is about the content at hand.
yeah, I'm
Earlier
just
this
saying. I'm just
afternoon,
saying.
the poll was there.
I'm
You're
just
damn right it
saying.
was.
Look, Bobby, but I will say, I do think that the Ravens going into this as wide of a net as they did cast, it does seem like they already had their guy in mind, and that's who they've been waiting on. Which, I mean, just turns out that their guy has just consistently been winning games. So I mean, which I think it is Clint Kubiak or Vance Joseph, maybe just for like the defensive guy, or maybe someone else. But I mean, the guy's just been winning, winning playoff games, and I do think it's hasn't been covered enough that your boy Robert Saleh had a underwhelming Ravens interview. So I don't know if you got a slide to cover that, Bobby, but it ain't looking so good for your boy, man.
What are we taking double the 90 seconds? Look at him. Yeah, exactly. Son of a mother. I did see that. I think Sarah brought that in. Sarah brought that into the vault today from Drew Forrester. That's the word that he used based on a conversation he had, that Robert's virtual interview was underwhelming. I mean, okay. I happen to think that, I'm guessing he knew he wasn't going to Baltimore. He knew, and his representation knew, that one, they weren't serious about him enough to shorten their process. And he wasn't going to wait until after the AFC Championship game when he had other organizations like a Tennessee or Arizona throwing themselves at him. So I don't know what to make of the whole underwhelming nature. That doesn't match up with the way he's typically categorized. The fiery sideline coordinator, head coach, well-spoken, defensive prowess, players coach, right? But if that's what happened on Sunday after Saturday's loss, then so be it. I never referred to him as a favorite or wanted him or any of that. It was, hey, I think he might be a good fit in Baltimore for what they need defensively. And then I gave you as much commentary as I could scrounge up, including Grant's analysis in San Francisco, to tell you why I felt that way. Now, speaking of finalists, we're going to get into some of that and how that's starting to kind of come together. And the latest regarding Mike McDaniel, the latest regarding Brian Flores in Pittsburgh, and elsewhere, coming up in just a couple minutes here. You guys are so funny. You only hear what you want to hear, right? You only hear what you want to hear. Well, you'll hear something about Brian Flores in just a second. So we look forward to that. When I say number one, he was within the list of names that I was constantly giving in the way too early finalist top 5. I would always present it as, in no specific order, here are the names. And it typically included, and still does with some of these names, Saleh, Minter, Kubiak. Who else has been in and out of my Weaver? And then that fifth one has rotated between a mystery candidate, Shula in LA. So I'll have to see how those things shake out. Back to the guest lines we go. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Hell of a title game last night, huh? Man. Tip my cap to Fernando Mendoza. I mean, that was just, he refused to be denied on that second effort. 4th and 5, he had no business crossing the plane. And he may not be the most athletically gifted, physically gifted quarterback that's ever come out of the draft, come out of the college ranks. But damn it, if he's not a gamer, if he's not a high-level processor, if he doesn't want to be coached, if he's not coachable, I don't know what he is, because all those things stick out to me. Why I think he ultimately lands in Vegas as the number 1 pick for the Raiders. That was a lot of fun. Back to the guest lines we go. 90 seconds on the clock. I know Maurice is ready to get the fuck after it in this 90 seconds. I just get the sense he's going to come in here like a bat out of hell on a Tuesday evening. Let's see what he has for us tonight. 90 seconds on the clock, my friend. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me. So my answer to the poll, no. I am not at all bothered by John Harbaugh not thanking the Ravens fan base. And certainly it's like we already know that, the writing has been on the wall for John Harbaugh for ages now. So it's like John Harbaugh not thanking us, it doesn't hurt us one bit. We all know as Ravens fans, we've been through a whole lot worse. Like, for example, witnessing John Harbaugh constantly blowing double-digit leads, especially in the postseason. And we all know the worst possible time to blow double-digit leads is during the postseason, let alone coming short within the postseason. Example number one, you look at the 2010 divisional round against Pittsburgh, where we played against Pittsburgh at home. Now, in that very game, we had to lead 21-7 at half. And once the second half rolled around, then that's, all hell broke loose. Multiple costly turnovers and missed opportunities cost us the game. And another example, I want to say it's the 2014 divisional round against New England. That game also, we led by 14 twice. And then what happened? Tom Brady doing Tom Brady things. He engineered a fourth-quarter comeback and just literally just hit the nail on the coffin for Baltimore. So, which brings me to this point. The writing was on the wall from John Harbaugh, and after 18 seasons of, coaching incompetence and lack of adjustment, and on top of multiple leads being blown, it was time for him to go anyway. It's like his coaching philosophy has been stale for God knows how long. So then again, I am not at all bothered by him not thanking us. As hell, it was time for him to hit out the door anyway. So it's not hurting anybody.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for the call, man. Nobody will ever call you underprepared when you call into this program. But to summarize his 18 years as incompetence, I know you didn't mean to maybe say it like that. I think we all know that the overwhelming majority of John Harbaugh's tenure, in my estimation, in most estimations, will be categorized as successful when you compare it to the rest of the league. Was it good enough over the last decade, especially with 8 of those 10 years, with the transcendent quarterback and the transcendent player that is Lamar Jackson? No. And ultimately, that is why the decision was made. It's no different than Sean McDermott. Josh and Lamar are future Hall of Fame players. And when they aren't, okay, they're competing for titles, but when they aren't legitimate contenders and making deep runs year in and year out, you're going to be under the microscope. Your ass is going to be under the microscope, and sometimes the head coach ends up being the fall guy. So overall, Harbaugh will be celebrated. He'll be a Ring of Honor member. One day he'll probably be in Canton. If he gets that second Super Bowl, it's a shoo-in. It's not even a debate. Maybe it's a debate right now. But given his name and the Harbaugh royalty, the Super Bowl, the success, guy's got like 7 or 8 road playoff wins, which is pretty historic. So just to be clear on that. 90 seconds on the clock. We're going to get to, in just a second here, that I keep promising, we will get to the whole roundup and some of the new news, including Brian Flores and everything related to the ongoing head coach search. But first, EB. Boy, you guys are funny, man. You really are funny. Oh, EB, 90 seconds on the clock. Welcome to the program, brother.
What's up, man?
What you doing?
I'm ready to get on my cloud. I'm ready to get on my high cloud right now. High in the stratosphere. The poll. Am I bothered for not receiving a thank you from a rodeo clown that has fucking choked over the past plus decade? Ever since we won the Super Bowl. Fuck no, I'm not bothered. Man, take your non-thank you, wind that some bitch and shove it right up your fucking candy ass. Fuck you. I am so glad. I'm so glad that you're gone, bro. I'm so glad. Cause just like Maurice just pointed, these double digit collapses, these fourth quarter collapses. You keep fucking choking in the divisional round, and everybody want to praise John Harbaugh is this success here, this success there. Where the fuck is the success? I'm not seeing it. I'm not here. I just, and then he wants to pluck players and coaches from the team. Like, fuck off. Like, fuck off. Like, I'm so glad. I am so glad his non accountability ass is gone. Like, I'm so I'm so glad he's fucking gone, brother. Bro.
Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you. And folks, that right there is the reason why John Harbaugh decided to take a lap and say to himself, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and leave the fan base out. I think we just got Exhibit A, folks. I think we just got it. EB, never change, EB. Never change. Let's talk about the coach roundup. Let's get fully caught up to speed on all the happenings, all the activity that are out there, all across the league. But first, this episode is brought to you by Preston Automotive Group. Want to say continued thank you to the folks at Preston, my longest standing sponsor. If you scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner, it'll take you to my exclusive deal landing page. One of those deals is a $500 credit towards a newer pre-owned vehicle. Another one of those is you can buy 4 tires, and when you do, you'll receive 50% off your alignment. You can contact them by filling out this form right here. There are 3,918 vehicles available in the inventory section, and you can break it all down by make, model, keyword, price, vehicle condition, year, and of course, most importantly, location. If you're in the DMV, they're all over the place, including my home dealership when I'm in Baltimore, and that is Randallstown. That's Preston Ford West, located off of Liberty Road. Follow them on Instagram at Preston Automotive Group. Go check them out. They have a site operator that's rolling 24/7 if you need more specific quick hitter questions answered. And thanks to Preston for everything they do, including having me on the road with my Bobby Baltimore Bronco now for almost 3 years running. Thank you guys for being with me tonight. Let's go ahead and do this, shall we? Let's see here. All right, coming up on that 2,000 number, 2,000 concurrents and counting. It's a busy one. But hold on. I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty on my side of things. So give me 1 second here. There it goes. This goes back. A little bit of real-time producing. All right. Let's reset, shall we? Let's talk about let's do this. Why don't we do this? Just catch up on this. Do this. Let's get fully caught up on what I have prepared, some of which was happening in real time. So I'm just doing a little bit of multitasking. Thank you for the patience. And we're resetting now. Let's get fully caught up on happenings, activity around this ongoing Ravens head coach search. And I think it's a good way to start by sharing Adam Schefter's commentary on sort of the analogy that he used to describe what these last 2 weeks and potentially 3 weeks now going into week 3 has consisted of strategy-wise from the Ravens organization.
Ravens are approaching this hiring cycle, to me, is very similar to the way that they draft. They sit back at the end of the round, they watch all the teams in front of them make their moves, and then the Baltimore Ravens step in and make their selection with whatever greatness is left. Whether that's Lamar Jackson at 32, or Kyle Hamilton at 14, or whatever it is. And I feel like in their coaching process, they're doing the same thing. They're sitting back. They're letting Atlanta hire. They're letting Miami hire. They're letting Tennessee hire. And these would not have been the hires that the Ravens would have made anyway. So all these candidates are coming off the dance floor. And then in the end, they're going to pick some guy that's going to come in there and probably be as much of a success as a coach as many of their top draft picks have been.
All right. So, and that was one of the takeaways from a week ago when DeCosta referred to it as a 3-week mini NFL draft, essentially. We know there have been 17 candidates. The latest is Broncos special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi. He was the interim head coach after they fired Dennis Allen last year in New Orleans. He went 3-5. I can't imagine his candidacy is legitimate, but it's a way of gathering information. Perhaps they're interested in a couple members of his staff, or I should say his peers, in Vance Joseph and Davis Webb, who are also under Sean Payton. Perhaps it's another way of slow playing things. I don't know. It can't hurt to have conversations with guys, certainly. But I think it's pretty clear that when you look at this list, there are some that shouldn't be categorized as legitimate candidates. Matt Nagy comes to mind. Darren Rizzi is another one that comes to mind. But again, this is your list right now. So take Kevin Stefanski out. We know that he's in Atlanta. Take Robert Saleh out. We know that he is in, as of overnight, in the wee hours, in Tennessee. Now, we learned this from Schefter, that Brian Flores, who has an expiring contract in Minnesota, interviewed today with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They also have plans to bring in former Cowboys head coach, who won a Super Bowl in Green Bay as the head coach of the Packers, Mike McCarthy, tomorrow on Wednesday for an interview. Meanwhile, Minnesota, where his contract is expiring and he served as defensive coordinator under Kevin O'Connell the last couple of years and has done great work, they've been pushing to bring him back. And if he doesn't land a head coaching gig, according to Schefter, he'd have a good chance at being retained by Minnesota, meaning they want him, which is understandable. Why wouldn't you? He's turned that defense around in 2 years' time, and I thought Matthew Collar shared some good perspective in terms of how some of those reputational blemishes, noise from his former players has not followed him and has not been the case in Minnesota. Pittsburgh has confirmed, as of an hour ago, that they have indeed completed an in-person interview with Brian Flores for their head coach vacancy. So that's happening. Now, for those of you who want to dog walk me, or at least attempt to dog walk me when it comes to poll strategy, there has not been any buzz out there about Brian's candidacy in Baltimore past the initial interview. As soon as that starts to happen, it will get more attention, meaning his candidacy inside this channel in Baltimore. Until then, I'm going to do what I do. And if you don't like it, there's a lot of other channels out there, my friends. But I hope you'll stay here. I mentioned Darren Rizzi. Rizzi became candidate number 17. Mike Kliss, Denver Broncos reporter, noting exactly that. That is 3 staff members under Sean Payton who the Ravens won't be able to speak to until next week, given the restrictions and guidelines that are in place. Meanwhile, the Ravens made it official this morning that Anthony Campanelli, year 1 with Jacksonville as defensive coordinator under Liam Cohen, that's been confirmed. His initial interview has been confirmed. And Mia O'Brien, who we had on the vault yesterday, I thought gave a cool analogy in terms of what Anthony's background consists of. Quote, he is this pathological love child between Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Wink Martindale, so many different influences that have created the defensive identity you saw from this Jaguars team. Again, until there is legitimate noise, rumblings, reports out there about a second interview, leading you to believe that he might be a finalist, you probably won't be hearing a ton more on camp. Meanwhile, I guess in terms of finalists from the Ravens' perspective, at the 2-week mark of this process, you can consider these 3 guys as that. Now, where they fall, what bucket they're in terms of how many finalists there are, I don't know. We could be talking about 10 for all I know. But Joe Brady, Bills offensive coordinator, who's getting some interest, by the way, from a head coaching perspective. I believe Arizona's taking a look at him. The Ravens want to take another look at him and have a conversation with him. Same thing with Anthony Weaver. He's already, I believe, as of today, according to Jeff earlier this morning, had his second in-person interview. Not sure if the first was in person, but he's had a second interview that was in person today with the Ravens. And Jesse Minter, according to Jeff, they'd like to track down as well this week for a second interview. And as Jeff also notes, Bisciotti and DaCosta said there will likely be 4 or 5 second interviews. So you can figure that there are a few more names that will make this up as well. When you look around the league, too, it's starting to narrow. Miami obviously filled its vacancy. Jeff Hafley will succeed Mike McDaniel. He was the defensive coordinator under Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. So that's done. Overnight, Saleh, like I mentioned, went to Tennessee. Going to have a chance to work closely with Cam Ward, the former number 1 overall pick. A lot of cap space to work with. Number 4 overall, they're selecting the draft. New stadium, a lot to like in Nashville. So 6 total vacancies, including the Ravens, Bills, Steelers, Browns, Cardinals, and Raiders. As for Mike Mack, and I'm not talking about McDonald, I'm talking about Mike McDaniel. Pelissero, right before we came on tonight, he has informed the Browns, Mike McDaniel has, that he's withdrawing from their head coaching search. Can you blame him? Ahead of a scheduled in-person interview on Wednesday. He's still a candidate for the Ravens and Raiders head coach vacancies. He's also interviewing for the Chargers offensive coordinator job. He's got multiple offensive coordinator offers as well that are out there for the taking, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Albert Breer floated out the idea of him taking that job with the potential vision of knowing that who knows how much longer Todd Bowles has as the head coach of the Bucs, and perhaps he could be waiting in the wings to succeed him. So that's where things stand currently at the 2-week time frame of this search that will more than likely, if I'm a betting man, I think it's a safe bet to cash in that this process will span beyond championship weekend. And that right there is the latest from a Ravens perspective on the head coach front and everything else that's about to fall in place, hopefully sooner rather than later. A couple super chats have come in. Justin Hayes writes, my money is on an expedited clock for whoever is on the new coaching staff. No time to lean on loyalty, purely results-based. Start the regime with a warm seat. Justin, thanks for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you for being here tonight. Denaro Tranquilo writes, at work seeing patients, listening to Bobby while an alcoholic vomits in the background. What a life. Shout out to Bobby. You're doing a great job. Denaro, where are you right now? What do you do for a living? You don't have to tell me, but it sounds like you do important work. And for that, I salute you twofold. 1, thank you for being here. And 2, thank you for whatever community you service, because that sounds like it's difficult. Thanks, brother. Guys, if you haven't already joined the Discord group, I would love for you to do so. It's a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. And we are slowly but surely coming up on how many members? 1,200, 1,180. DJ Lyric became our latest. Jesse and B4 and Flygon. It's a great community. Constant chatter in here. Like this bullshit right here from Shabu saying that Bobby's truly a fake fan. I'll get after him in just a second here. That's the beauty of it. Look at all this. Just constant chatter, constant dialogue, fun community that's growing by the day. Thanks to all of you who take part in it. And thanks to FanDuel. Thanks to my guest call-ins. Thanks to my live chat viewers. Thanks to my Twitter users. You guys know the drill. You can contact me and follow me across all social media platforms. That includes Instagram at Bobby Baltimore. That includes Twitter or X at Bobby Baltimore. And for those of you that want to donate to the program, but you do not want to do so through Super Chat, you can always do it through Venmo, through Cash App, a couple different areas. Sometimes you guys reach out. You don't want to go through the YouTube platform. I get it. Anything and everything is always appreciated. Nothing is ever expected. And that is that. The Collective in an hour and a half. Hope you guys will join us. Jeff Zaribek of The Athletic, Cole Jackson, Road Graders, film community, content creation. Looking forward to getting back with that trio tonight. Go check it out and join us at 8 o'clock. Thanks to y'all. Appreciate you guys.